The X-Pyr is one of the toughest adventure races in the world. On June the 23rd, 2024, 40 teams attempted to traverse the Pyrenees from coast to coast, passing through 7 turn points. These turn points can be located in the highest mountains or the deepest valleys. In the X-Pyr, there are no fixed stages. Athletes can be moving for up to 14 hours a day, combining paragliding with ultramarathon running, covering a route close to 500 kilometres. The winner is the first to reach the finish line. From that moment, the remaining pilots have to reach the goal within a set time.
Hola, soy Jordi Aymeric, voy con Pep Casals, Aina y Marc y vamos a cruzar el Pirineo porque vamos a llegar a nuestra casa.
Mon ambition, c'est de me faire plaisir et d'essayer d'aller le plus loin possible.
La meteo que nos ha tocado hoy mala, nos va a tocar caminar todo el día.
Weather is nice for running.
The first day of the X-Pyr 2024 began with a start at the beach in Hondarribia on the Bay of Biscay in Spain's Basque Country. Assembled were 40 of the world's best pilots and their assistants. Everyone was ready to give it their all.
Welcome to beautiful sunny France. We're standing at turn point 1 in Lagun, and if you thought it looked a bit miserable at the beach, boy is it miserable here.
The athletes ran to the first turn point at Lagun, just across the border with France. Unfortunately, on this first day, there was fog, wind, rain, and it was very cold. The first two arrived, France's Pierre-Remy and Slovenian Lenard Oblak, reached the Lagun turn point to autograph the sign-in board with a time of 2 hours and 38 minutes. The first day of the Extreme X-Pyr competition was much harder than anyone expected. The chances of a long flight on that day were practically zero, and running dozens of kilometres in the rain was extremely exhausting. However, the competitors didn't lack good humour and optimism.
I'm from Turkey. My name is Barış. I'm living in Ölüdeniz. Maybe you know, it's really most popular place for the flying. And now we will die.
The plan is not flyable, so still walking.
It's been interesting trying to communicate without the phone because with the rain I can't touch my phone.
My plan was to follow Maxime So it looks like Maxime's heading this way. So now I'm going to follow Lars, who I also have a lot of respect for, and he's pretty much straight on course. And I think the guys who have made the move to the south are going to lose some speed because they're heading 90 degrees off. So if we can maintain a good speed, this speed, along track, we should be able to pick up some places.
The same plan since this morning. No brain, and you follow Maxime and Pierre.
Athletes must always carry the mandatory equipment, which is a paraglider, harness, parachute, helmet, mobile phone and 2 live tracking devices. The assistant's task is to prepare food, clothes and a place for the mandatory rest, as well as help with route planning and to cheer on their pilot.
I'm still running after all this time, drying up the pieces of my gear, one piece at a time. I'm still running, yeah, yeah, yeah.
By the end of the day, the weather improved, the rain stopped, and in some places the sun even peeked through the clouds. Some pilots had the opportunity to relieve their tired legs for a few minutes and fly into the valley.
So when you meet up with me again, it might be a good idea to have some sunglasses, sunscreen, and an empty keg of coffee.
Until 9 in the evening, the participants were still walking while their assistant searched for a suitable place to rest and prepare a good dinner.
Vůbec jsme neletěli, nebo aspoň já, a většina startovního pole, takže to bylo jenom o nohách a to samozřejmě bolí a je nepříjemný.
Tohle celý den sušit, vyměňovat, no a zajišťovat. A jídlo? Řídit. A jídlo. Nevím, oplnit každý přání. A být ticho, když se domluvá trasa, aby nebylo moc názorů.
On a pu faire un petit vol, ça fait du bien au moral. Et j'ai fait une erreur, c'est que mon téléphone est venu noir pendant le vol et j'ai pris une mauvaise direction, mais j'ai quand même pu éviter la descente à pied et c'était agréable. Je peux repartir motivé et finir la journée avec le sourire.
Jako všichni vychází z jednoho bodu, ale v průběhu toho prvního dne se vyvíjí ta taktika, jo, která někdy je čitelnější, někdy míň. A to dneska bylo možná dobře. Bylo jednodušší, že jako pršelo, takže ta taktika asi se neměla nějak jako důvod nějak měnit, prostě běžet, nedalo se ani letět, takže jako běžet, no.
Before lying down in their sleeping bags, some tried to alleviate muscle pain with a massage, and others planned their tactics for the next day. A few hours of mandatory rest revived the competitors.
Závodníci ještě spinkají a už je čas.
Nespal, protože se mi honily hlavou různý myšlenky. Ta hlavní byla, že vzdálenost do cíle je ve physical hodnotách a v raw hodnotách.
On the morning of the second day of the X-Pyr, the competitors were filled with hope because of a better forecast. The heavy rain that had battered them on the first day and that had made it impossible to fly longer distances had finally stopped. Although the clouds remained relatively low and strong north winds blew, the weather offered promising flying conditions. Of course, each pilot had to walk to the appropriate takeoff, if possible before the mountain summits were covered with clouds again, which would have ruined the possibility to fly with thermals. Under the intense rain of the previous day, participants split into two groups, taking the northern or the southern route. This decision significantly influenced the track the athletes would take towards goal, as well as the chances of finding a suitable takeoff spot. Those who chose the southern route reaped their rewards on the second day with the first thermal flights of the X-Pyr competition. Being at the right place and at the right time to take advantage of the thermal conditions is decisive in this competition. Each kilometre a pilot covers in flight is a kilometre they don't have to walk. A few hours of good thermal conditions were the reward for yesterday's efforts in the rain, although the strong north wind prevented pilots from flying long distances. However, Brazilian Gabriel Jensen managed to fly 89 kilometres amid strong turbulence, the longest distance flown on the second day of the competition. Although none of the pilots reached the second waypoint at Val d'Asun, several short flights allowed them all to rest their legs a little and gave them optimism for the days ahead. Nothing is easy, and the weather plays a very important role, along with luck, which influences the outcome of each competitor's efforts.
Cloud bed is very low, so
not really too much. I decided to land down here. Lars is hiking up again, so it's going to be interesting which option is the faster one.
French pilot Maël Baguet lost his GPS tracker in the most unexpected spot. He went back to search for it and eventually found it lying in the middle of ferns. At that point, he understood that in a hike and fly competition, both good and bad luck matter. Had he not found it, it would have meant the end of his competition. Thus, a typical day in the X-Pyr, nothing easy, and there are often significant changes in the rankings. Instead of a long thermal flight, competitors made several shorter flights during the second day of the competition, and the athletes had to do a lot of walking.
Difficult day. It's very difficult conditions in the air. So almost everyone ended up on the street again, except this guy over there, who is doing very well. Today, four flights already.
It was a nice thermal, and we save a lot of hike.
By 9 p.m, all competitors must stop wherever they are and rest until the next day, which they know will be just as demanding as the previous ones. The third day of this X-Pyr offered great weather and promised long flights. Anyone who flew long distances that day had a great chance of occupying one of the top spots. Good tactics are needed, as there are 3 turn points situated at high altitude on the route. Turn point 2, Val d'Asun, turn point 3, Boitaul, and turn point 4, Monte Perdido. Those who got close to Val d'Asun the previous day had a big advantage. This valley is a popular paragliding spot and has excellent flying conditions. Gabriel Janssen started walking as soon as permitted to get to the takeoff point. At 8 a.m. he took off from Courdacouc in Val d'Asun and glided down to the valley, and then had to walk through the mountains towards Cauterets. Meanwhile, Australia's Sean Tai took off from Somme de Berdoucou and flew to the turn point, and then caught up with Gabriel on foot. Later, in their next flight, they would be the first to reach 2,500 metres, marking the initial maximum altitude of the day. Behind them, Austrian Simon Oberrauner and Pierre-Remy flew very quickly and made use of all the southern faces before the Val d'Asun turn point to target while flying. They nearly caught up with those ahead and joined together in Loup-Saint-Sauveur. This was the moment when, by a whim of fate, local pilot Pierre-Remy got stuck and Simon Oberrauner escaped from him. Up ahead, Sean Tai stayed in the lead throughout the day, followed by Gabriel Janssen. On the downside, several pilots had to withdraw, including world champion and current European champion Maxime Pinot. We also saw several withdrawals from this year's rookies, Spain's Dario Dandeo and Argentinian Lucas Toledo, all due to physical problems related to their knees or feet. The third day was slowly coming to an end. There were still 2 hours until a mandatory rest period. Competitors could still cover a few kilometres and get closer to the most suitable position to prepare for the next day's takeoff.
It was good, I could fly all the way till here, but the French side was faster in the end because it was closer following the route, and I did a big detour, and so I have to catch up again.
Come and have a look at this dinner. Lasagna. Living in style. Shane, he built this whole inside in 6 days. He bought the car in England, there was nothing in here, it was all dirty, and he just made a camper van.
The plan is to go up somewhere over there on 2,000 meters and hopefully take off at 10 o'clock to fly all the flying window that is going to be today.
I think I go to do this takeoff, maybe 700 meter hour, and I hope I can fly to TP4 and maybe 5.
My plan is to go Castellón de Sos, and then by the time I get there I will be able to fly, and then turn point 3, here I come hopefully.
The fourth day of the X-Pyr was extremely complicated and adrenaline-fueled, a day where luck and timing played a major role. Most of the competitors ascended to one of the mountain peaks near the iconic paragliding paradise of Castellón de Sos. Pilots from the southern side of the Pyrenees managed to make long flights and gain many kilometres, though there were many stressful situations due to thunderstorms. Simon Oberrauner and Sean Tighe were the first pilots to sign in at the Val de Núria turnpoint, just as the first few drops of rain started falling. In the French area to the north, they were less fortunate, as most pilots got trapped by the storms before they could cross to the Spanish side.
And coming in from the sky, I didn't realise it was such a steep valley, so as I came in I was like, wow, it's beautiful. Got the buzzy little the bell tower there, which is cool. So yeah, beautiful spot, especially from the air.
This part of the Pyrenees offers extremely harsh conditions. High mountains, glaciers, dense clouds. The reward for intense effort and courage is flying in this wild, beautiful nature, something few people experience. After 4 days of extensive walking, fatigue is noticeable in the body. Many struggle against leg pain and look for strength and motivation to continue the competition. Sore muscles and tendons need to be lubricated with cream and properly bandaged.
It was a bit hard, but okay.
Day 5. An exciting day full of surprises that changed the rankings at the last minute. Once the storms calmed, other pilots arrived in Val de Núria, including one of the competition favourites, Frenchman Pierre-Emile. Not everyone who set off from Hondarribia Beach 5 days previously would manage to sign in at this turn point, and not everyone who signed in would be guaranteed to reach goal at the Mediterranean coast, now relatively close. Fortunately, yesterday's storms dissipated, and the remaining days of this X-Pyr competition seemed to offer good weather conditions with no rain.
This place is really scenic because it's like it's really square and the nice grass in the middle of the mountains. It's a funny place.
Each of the competitors who were close to the finish line on this 5th day of the competition chose a different tactic and fought until the last moment. However, the high temperatures during the final kilometres to the finish line turned into a nightmare for the competitors. After sharing many hours and experiences with Sean Tighe in those last hours, it was ultimately Simon Oberrauner who won the X-Pyr 2024.
So your first board. Simon pushed us to the limit and not we pushed him.
Really exhausted. It was 23 kilometers non-stop running.
Gracias.
A big surprise was German Christian Schuck, who by flying overtook 2 pilots and jumped from 4th to 2nd place.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here, and yeah, amazing that it turned out that my flying strategy was working out. Thanks to Philipp Haag for giving me the tip or advice for this route. And special thanks to my brother. Without him, would not have been possible to be here.
First-time hike-and-fly competitor Shane Tighe from Australia finished 3rd at the finish line at the Mediterranean coast.
That last little bit, running up the hill, was so hot. It was a bit of a struggle. So,
thus, Frenchman Pierre-Remy's podium hopes came to an end.
Merci. C'était bravo gars.
Ouais, on a tout essayé pour rattraper devant et finir comme ça là par.
All pilots who reached the last turn point were rewarded with one final glide to the beach at El Port de la Selva and a refreshing swim in the Mediterranean. None of the pilots who managed to reach the competition's finish line on Friday and Saturday were deprived of this privilege. Although the names of the top 3 in the X-Pyr podium were now decided, the race was not over. Most of the starting pack were still fighting to improve their position in the race. Those who reached Val de Núria on that day would surely make it to the finish line at El Port de la Selva before the official deadline on Saturday evening. What makes the X-Pyr competition special is that it is fought until the very end. Contestants not only fight against their opponents, but also against themselves. Of course, nearing the finish line gives them more motivation. The feeling of being close to the goal gives new strength to everyone.
Amazing! So beautiful! Took a lot of risks and it paid off. Perfect! Oh, that was fun! Day 6. Pilots are still flying to Val de Núria to place their signature on the board.
And again, time is pressing. Let's go to the last turn point.
The stunning nature and a unique resort in the heart of the mountains are the reward for 6 days of effort, pain and sweat. With a bit of luck, everyone will enjoy one last long thermal flight to get closer to the finish at El Port de la Selva. Even today, several teams, absolutely excited, will pass through the goal gate. The winner is to be the one who reaches the finish line first and crosses the Pyrenees on their own, through extremely difficult weather conditions, including rain, strong winds, thunderstorms and scorching heat.
It's part of the body now.
Well, finally.
Finally.
very happy to see the Mediterranean, and I'm happy to be here with my team, and now we can fly together on the beach and swimming on the sea.
Grandi rega, ce l'abbiamo fatta! Grandelli! Dai, un abbraccione! Tired today, a lot to walk and to run, but super happy to finish.
Dneska celý den hrozný vedro a hrozná silnice. Předchozí to bylo parádní v horách, lítáníčko, takže super.
Tady!
Oh, this is the coolest thing I've ever done. This is amazing. Take me places I would have never gone and push my body as hard as I've ever pushed it. I'm not done yet.
It has been an amazing experience. You know, it's just full of emotions, full of beautiful sceneries. If it's either a morning glide or a great thermal flight, going up all the way to 3,800 meters, flying with vultures, I couldn't be any more happy. And I know goal is inside, so yeah, my dream comes true.
Today, challenging flight, landing options very limited, but I'm glad I made it here, so probably can make it to the ocean today, which is amazing. Very close to goal, if not to goal today.
Qué privilegio estar acá con mis amigos, mi equipo y con toda esta vibración que estamos teniendo de todos. Dale.
Brazilian Gabriel Janssen also reaches the finish line, having performed particularly well at the start of the race. His story is unique, not only for the commitment with which he competed the entire race, but also for the circumstances in which he arrived in Europe. To participate in this extremely difficult race and to have enough money to support his team, he sold his car. This is yet another example of the small stories of sacrifice in one of the most demanding competitions in the world, athletes in body and soul.
The weather worsened again, but participants were still arriving at the beach at El Port de la Selva. The competition was ending in just a few hours, and the short flight from the last waypoint to the symbolic finish of the competition was the dream of everyone who set off 6 days previously from the other side of the Pyrenees for what is probably the greatest adventure of their lives.
Really hard, my body is really aching, so I had to dig quite deep for this.
In the X-Pyr 2024, 40 competitors participated. 10 withdrew due to health problems and 21 reached the finish line within the stipulated time.
Sorry you couldn't fly, but it was hard, you know.
Yes.
On the road and
and the hot yesterday was terrible, no?
Sean Tai took the bronze back to distant Australia with a total time of 103 hours. The silver went to German Christian Schock, half an hour faster. The overall winner of the 2024 event was Austrian Simon Oberrauner with a time of 101 hours and 52 minutes.